So I don't want to put it all the way together to where it needs to be sealed up. We're going to be putting it together to where I can power it up and just make sure that everything's working okay. I'm actually feeling pretty confident about our chance of success here.
Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. You've probably seen my last video where I was trying to bring back my GoPro Hero. Now this is the GoPro Max, the 360 camera. It is supposed to be waterproof, but as you already found out in my other video, putting it in the ocean only 5 feet deep made it stop working completely. Now I did try to do a non-destructive repair, which did not work. So this is part 2 of my video trying to revive this GoPro. Now the goal of this video will be to open this device up and scrub the insides with isopropyl alcohol. Because this was dipped in the ocean, I suspect that there's salt residue in the connectors on here. There are a lot of connectors on this camera. Most people are taking this camera apart destructively. My goal is to take it apart and have it go back together again if I can revive it. The first thing we got to do is get into the camera. So I've already removed the bottom plate here. You'll need to remove this quick connect, and the way that I've done that is with a Torx head screwdriver. It is very, very small. This one is a T6 by 50 millimeter. The 50 millimeter doesn't matter to you because that's just the length this way. The T6 is the size you're looking for. Now this will work for all of the screws that are in the bottom. However, the ones that are on this clip are very, very small. In fact, I think they're probably a T5. I had to push quite hard and turn in order to get them to come off. So I'll put links in the description to the screwdrivers that I'm using. You can pick up your own there if you don't have what we're using in this video. The other thing to note is there is a total of 7 screws on the bottom to take off. That's where we're at right now. Now the reason I started filming now is because I think I'm making progress. I'm using this crafter's knife, which you can get at your local craft store. Again, I'll put a link in the description if you just want to purchase everything you need here. And what we're doing, you can see there's this little seam all the way around here. This seam is where you need to get into this. We've already pulled the battery out, we've pulled the memory card out, and I've popped the battery tray off. And all I'm simply doing is using this knife, like this, to just kind of cut into here. You want to be very careful. This knife will slip many times, and I do not want to hear anybody cutting their finger off, slicing themselves open. So you want to be aware of what is known as the blood circle. That is, anything around your radius with this knife is at risk. You always cut away from yourself. So in my case, I'm cutting here. I'm going to go this way, away from myself. You can see I'm not cutting towards any main arteries. Do not hold this like this and cut like this. You'll slice your finger open. I promise you, you will slice your finger open. No matter how careful you're being, you will slice your finger open. So don't do it. I've been having the most luck by actually sticking this on and just rocking it back and forth like this. Again, keep in mind that you don't want to cut yourself open. So I'm doing half of it that way and then the other half this way. And it's actually getting to the point where some of this I can feel I've got through the rubber gasket that's on here, and it's about ready to start separating. So I wanted to make sure that I get that on film. Now I got to use quite a bit of strength here. This tip is very brittle, so don't do it sideways at all. You can go up and down on it, but don't try to pry with this. This is not the pry tool that we're using. Now, like you can see right here, it's starting to move a little bit here. So I'm going to use this tool. You can see my table's already a mess. This is from the last iPhone repair that I tried to do. Now this is the waterproofing gasket that we're trying to chop through right now. I can get this corner. I don't want to pull too hard because I want this to go back on. The LCD is on here, and I've seen a lot of people totally destroy their GoPros by getting a little bit too excited with prying. We could probably force this off by prying, but we want it to just pop off. So you can see we've got that tool in there. We got that crack starting to form, which is excellent. I'm going to leave that in there and just see if I can cut through whatever's in here. We're getting close. You can see right here, we're getting close. We are making progress. What I'm hoping to find is a spot that has lots of salt water on it that I can just clean right off. This is the part where somebody chimes in and says, what if you had a heat gun? Yeah, probably that would help a lot if you just kind of warmed up the edges around here, because whatever glue is holding this in would have become a whole lot softer. But as you can tell, I don't have a heat gun. I don't got a lot of patience. There we go. All right. Here it is. So you can see there's some residue in there. I'm going to just pop these tags off like that to separate this from here. Like you can see, lots of salt residue in here for sure. So we're going to tear this down as far as we can go to get as much out of there as we can. We can get the lens out. Now, if you're smart, you'll keep these screws separate so you know which ones are which. These black sticky strips here, these would be grounding strips. So they're used to just ground everything together. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how water got into this camera in the first place. It looks like the seal around the camera was good. We're finding our first signs of definite water damage. Well, definite salt activity. So right in there, there's a connector right there. And that connector definitely has some water damage to it. And you can see the connector right here is also very corroded up. I would say if I clean just those connections up, that would solve all of my problems. But let's just check all my other connections as well while I'm here. So we can pull the camera lens out. So we've got the USB-C charging module out. It does just pop right out, but it is stuck in there quite tight. The connector on there looks pretty good. And that releases our camera module. So this module has the lens built into it. So it is not a very user serviceable part. As you can see, we've had to go quite deep into the camera just to get to this lens. And that's the number one complaint about this camera, is that once your lens gets cracked, you're hooped. There's no fixing it easily, that's for sure. There is a little bit of salt residue on there, but nothing concerning. Now, these image sensors are completely sealed, so it's not a big deal to bath these in our solution either. We're going to submerge it. Why not? Okay, we were able to get the battery connector off. It lifts straight up. So that's exposed all of our corrosion from the salt water. So now what we're going to do is get out my 99% isopropyl alcohol. Now you want 99% because if it's any less than 99%, you're going to leave water residue, which we don't want to do. Put the lid back on. Now this stuff is very potent, so it's going to smell up your whole area. But all I want to do is use my old toothbrush and just give a good scrub on all of the components that have any salt residue on them. Once you've got each part clean, of course, we can set it down on the paper towel to dry off. So this is the LCD screen and drivers. This is our battery case. Now again, we're not so worried about the shell itself. We're more worried about the connector. And this connector definitely had some salt residue on it, which was probably contributing to it not starting. We don't need to scrub hard. We're just scrubbing enough to get them clean. You want to use a soft bristled toothbrush because we don't want to bend any of these pins. We just want to clean them up. So there you can see that's all been cleaned now. And again, we just set that right there to clean up. Now the camera module was pretty clean to start with. It just had a little bit of residue on it. So I just wanted to tap the edges just to be sure, because I don't want to put it all back together and then find out that like one of my cameras doesn't work or something like that. There's a lot of connectors on here. There's a lot of points to go wrong or to break or whatever. So we don't want to disturb too much of this. We do want to make sure that our connectors are definitely clean. The one place you're not going to be able to get is on the inside. I'm going to try and get some bristles down inside there and just kind of go back and forth. But what I do know is that I could actually charge the connector in, and I could hear it trying to charge. I couldn't see any action on the camera. So that made me believe that it was something to do with these other connections. Now this is the big one. Again, it's no big deal, just dunk it. We're just gonna scrub that circuit board. And when you're done, you should have no salt residue left in there. Now a couple things, just like last time, we're gonna leave this to dry. We want all of the alcohol to evaporate off. So we're gonna let it dry overnight. Now it might not take till overnight. As you can see, this one's already almost dry, but there is some residue on there. You don't wanna be trying to fire this up while you still have any kind of liquid still on it. So it definitely needs time to dry overnight. What do we do with our old alcohol? We can save it, but at some point it's gonna get really dirty. You can see actually there's a lot of dirt that came out of here. So if we pour it slow, we'll be able to save most of it, but not all of it. Now I'm gonna just get a funnel and dump it right back in. Here you can see all the little floaties that are still in there. I'm not gonna dump that last little bit in here because we wanna keep this mostly clean for our next water project. We'll come back tomorrow and put this back together, see how it works. All right, it is the next day. The parts have been sitting overnight to dry, so we're gonna do one final inspection. And what we're looking for is if there's any salt residue left on any parts here. All looking very excellent. It's looking really good. We should be ready for reassembly. I don't want to put it all the way together to where it needs to be sealed up. We're going to be putting it together to where I can power it up and just make sure that everything's working okay. I'm actually feeling pretty confident about our chance of success here. Before we screw the battery case down, I'm going to just clip these on and then we'll see if it boots up. So here's our battery. Again, I have very, very high confidence this is gonna work, at least to power up. Let's find out. Does it turn on? Huh. And there you have it. You've seen me take this completely apart. You've seen me scrub all of the insides with a toothbrush and some cleaning agent. We've inspected all of the connections, and yet it's still, when we turn it on, it just buzzes. Here's where we're at with this. The non-destructive repair did not work. The semi-destructive repair also has not worked. I think if we went to this repair first without turning the camera on, we could have scrubbed it down, cleaned it up, and then it would work. I feel like there's a component in here that has failed now and has blown because of an extra surge of power or a short circuit. So I don't have the capabilities to test for blown components or that sort of thing. So it's time to pass this on to somebody who has a little more ambition and a little bit more tools than I do. I hope this video helped you anyway. Unfortunately, we didn't actually fix the GoPro again, and this is it. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.